Today we are making a mixed media card with this awesome bearded dragon stamp from Artful Angel, one of the super sponsors of Kendra's Card Challenge 15, and I'm using sketch number 14 of the current Kendra's Card Challenge. This is a giveaway hop, so stay tuned for more information. My name is Julia and I'm an enthusiastic card maker and paper crafter from Austria. Welcome to my channel, Julie's Kreativschatzkiste. So as mentioned, we are using products from Artful Angel, one of the super sponsors of Kendra's Card Challenge 15. In case you're not familiar with Kendra's Card Challenge, this is a quarterly challenge where Kendra from the YouTube channel Cards by Kendra provides you with 15 unique sketches which can be made out of 6 sheets of 6x6 inch patterned paper. I will give you more details later. Let's start crafting right away. So these are the cute bearded dragons which you can stamp with the 2 stamp set from Artful Angel. I've cut them out with my electric cutting machine, and for the bearded dragon I'm going to use, I also used the cutting file to make one more cut out of watercolor paper. Today's card is all about mixed media, so I'm using crayons to color in my bearded dragon. You cannot color exactly with crayons, so I put blobs of color on the image where I want it, and then I use water and my finger to distribute the color on the image. The difference to watercoloring is that where the blob of color was in the first place, there will be more color on the final image. And the parts of the color you distribute with the water and your finger, they will be lighter. Overall it gives you a different effect, and I really like it for the bearded dragon because I think it looks like the skin of the bearded dragon in reality, a lot more than it would be with watercolors. So here I'm putting on the darkest brown I have, and afterwards I don't distribute the color with my fingers anymore, but I rather use a brush because I can get more into detail with it. Maybe now is a good time to tell you more about Kendra's Card Challenge. As I said, it's a quarterly free challenge where Kendra from the YouTube channel Cards by Kendra provides a free PDF with 15 unique card sketches that can be made out of 6 sheets of 6x6 inch patterned paper. This free PDF does not only include the measurements for all the 15 sketches, but it also includes a cutting guide for the patterned paper. If you participate in the challenge, there are great opportunities to win prizes, monthly as well as quarterly. All you have to do to participate is upload one photo with the 15 cards you made with the challenge into the respective album of the Kendra's Card Challenge Facebook group, which is linked in my description box. You can enter 1 photo per month, so 3 per quarter. As I said, there are monthly and quarterly prizes, and at the end of each month there's a video on the Cards by Kendra YouTube channel where all the great prizes are drawn. I really recommend you to watch this video, because if you are one of the winners you have to claim your prize through a form. I'm sure you now want to know how to download the free PDF from Cards by Kendra. Well, that is pretty easy. There's a link in my description box, and you have to join Patreon for free to download the PDF. But as I said, it's completely free. There are of course also paid options for Kendra's Patreon, which come with great perks, and you should also check them out because it's the possibility for Kendra to keep the challenge free for all. Beside the monthly and quarterly prizes for the challenge, there are also many hops for super sponsors going on throughout the quarter. And this super sponsor hop for Artful Angel is one of them. Alright, so now I'm finished with coloring my bearded dragon. To be sure, I dried it with my heat gun, and I'm attaching it to my extra cutout paper piece for stability and extra dimension. So that's the focal point of my card finished. Now we're turning to the construction of the base card. And I'm using sketch number 14 of Kendra's Card Challenge 15 today. I'm turning the sketch 180 degrees so that the square diamonds are at the bottom of the card. Reason for that, I think they look like stones and rocks, and I want them to be the foundation on which my bearded dragon is standing on. All these square diamonds are made of simple strips with a width of 1 inch. And first I'm going to put some pastes on them to make them look like rocks, and afterwards I'm going to cut them down to 1 inch squares, which I'm then going to use on my card. So the first paste I'm going to use is translucent grit paste. And as I don't need translucents, but I rather need browns and greys, I use some distress ink to color my paste, which I'm doing by simply mixing the two. Then I put it on my first 1 inch strip. It's important to take care that the paste is not too thin on my strip, because I want to get texture and dimension that look like rocks. By the way, for handling my paste I just use a spatula. And once the paste is put on my strip, I use the same spatula to additionally get texture into my paste. Once that's done, I just put it to the side until it was dry. So while you're watching me putting the crackle paste as well as the texture paste called Grave onto the other 1 inch strips, I can tell you more about the giveaway. So this video is part of a giveaway hop, and the playlist to all the videos included in the hop is also linked in my description box. I can really just encourage you to check out all the other videos, because I'm sure my design team colleagues will also give you great inspiration. By participating in this hop, you can win a digital prize from Cards by Kendra. If you want to participate, there's a form linked in my description box, which you have to fill in by the 27th of August 2024. The winner will then be randomly chosen and announced on the Cards by Kendra YouTube channel Community tab. Good luck! So now my strips with the rock textures are ready. Aren't they just gorgeous? I love this texture. So while my strips were drying, I have cut down a matting layer corresponding to the measurements given in the sketch, which I'm now preparing. On this matting layer, I want some earth tones, so brown and black tones, fitting to the rocks on the bottom part, and on the upper part I want to make some sky. For adding the colors to my background, I used watercolor pigment powder. I applied brown and black powder to the bottom of my card, and then I sprayed water on them. Each time I do that, I'm amazed by this gorgeous effect that creates. Do you like it? After drying it with my heat gun, I used the remaining color on my mat to add further splatter to my brown colors. On the upper half, I did the same with a turquoise watercolor pigment powder. I really love that color, it's so great. Again, I dried everything with my heat gun. And as I had my heat gun out already, I also dried my crackle paste, because this paste starts crackling when it's dry, which is also a great effect. For even more emphasizing those crackles, I again used my crayons with some waters and applied them on the surface of the crackles, so the brown color gets into the crackles and you see them even more. So these are now my 3 1-inch strips with textured rocks on them. I think they turned out really great. The next step is easy. I measure 3 times 1 inch on my strips and then I cut them into my diamond squares. So in the end I have 9 squares measuring 1 by 1 inch, which I will then attach to my background according to the sketch. If you compare my diamonds to the sketch now, you see that there's one step missing. I have to cut 2 of the diamonds, one in the bottom line and one on the upper line, into halves in order to have them equally distributed as shown on the sketch. But before I do that, I start gluing down the diamonds I have already. The secret for a good alignment as shown on the sketch is starting with aligning the squares in the lowest row. I don't attach them yet, but I align the middle row squares with these 2 lower squares. For attaching the middle squares, I use foam tape to get extra dimension. For gluing down the squares in the lower and upper line, I use normal liquid glue. Looks good so far, I think. And now comes the part which I have already announced. I have to cut 2 of the squares into halves in order to fill the rows. These, of course, I also attach with liquid glue. And thus our background is finished. I really love how it turned out. Do you like it? Have you ever made a similar card? Now it's time to plan our sentiment. If our bearded dragon goes there, onto the rocks of course, I would have enough space above him for the sentiment, but this sentiment of the stamp set is rather big. So I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do it, but I am sure that I don't like the white background. But before I'm going to do something about it, I attach my focal point, my bearded dragon, with foam tape on my rocks first. Also, I cut off the overhanging paper pieces from my square diamonds. I do that from the back because it's easier. And as you see, the card base I'm going to use for my project is of craft paper. So I try to get the sentiment background as close to this craft paper as possible. For that I used Distress Oxide Vintage Photo and my blending brush. Then I decided to cut the sentiment in 2. I will have one part of the sentiment on the top of the card, and the dinosaur part will be attached to the rocks. So this is our mixed media card finished for today. I really enjoyed working with all the pastes, and I love this bearded dragon stamp. It was just perfect to go with all these rock textures, diamond squares. Do you like it? Let me know in the comments. Do you enjoy making mixed media cards as well? If you liked the card and the video, please leave me a like or even a comment. And I would be really glad if you would consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already done so. Again, I can only encourage you to watch the entire playlist of this giveaway hop, which is linked in my description box. See you next time, servus!